Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the Chess Miniatures channel. Today I'm bringing you a game from the recent Ibero American Cup, which was played in Linares in Spain this week, and which finished actually this morning with an outstanding win by Spanish Grandmaster Alain Pichot, formerly from Argentina, who finished the tournament with 7.5 out of 9. With another very important and very outstanding performance after coming back from the Olympiad a few days ago. But as you all know, this channel is dedicated to miniature games that finish under 25 moves, and I'm bringing you one of the best miniature games of the tournament, a very instructive game played between international master from Argentina, Marcelo Panelo, with a rating of around 2400, and Spanish woman FIDE master, Buiza Prieto, who's rated around 2100. Let's see the game, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it a lot when I saw it during the tournament. So Panelo starts with d4, and after a few moves we have the famous London system, which is tremendously popular nowadays. Black has different ways to play against the London system, but Ehadze plays one of the main defenses with e6, and personally I generally try to go for active moves like c5 in this position, or occasionally I've tried out bishop to d6. Ehadze plays a very solid move, bishop to e7, safe and solid. Panelo plays bishop to d3, b6, knight b d2. Now, in these positions, sometimes it's interesting to try and exchange off the light square bishops with some ideas based on bishop to a6. Always a bit risky because our knights will be displaced on the side of the board. But then again, the bishop on d3 is very active, and as we'll see in the game, can attack Black's king side. So definitely bishop to a6, something to be considered. Buiza played bishop to b7, which is also okay. Knight to e5, castle, c3, knight b d7. Now we have a standard position in the London system. White has played his bishop on f4, the triangle of pawns, a strong knight on e5, and basically the idea of this scheme, this way of playing, is to try and hop over to the queen side, the king side with the queen, and go for a king side attack. That's what Panelo does. A nice move, queen to f3. Aggressive move with the queen. Buiza plays c5. I think that's quite reasonable. Rook to d1, an interesting move. At some point, if a knight hops into e4 after an exchange of pawns and pieces, the rook could hit the queen on c7. It's a long shot, but rook to d1 is an interesting move. Notice how white is refraining from castling, because at some point, if the attack develops, he may want to play h4 and use the rook for the attack. So for the moment, Panelo decides not to castle. I think that's very sensible. Now, in this position, Ehadze played rook to e8. I'm not a fan of this move. I do understand she wants to transfer her knight to f8 to defend the king side. That is quite sensible. But maybe it was time to play a5 and try and exchange off the bishop with bishop to a6. At least the computer suggests this would probably be a better chance for Black. In any case, she played rook to e8, queen to h3, knight to f8, protecting the pawn, and knight d to f3, maybe threatening knight to g5. Now this is a key moment of the game, because up to now, I think Ehadze played very well. She has a safe and solid position, slightly worse just because of the small pressure on the king side, but nothing to fear really. And now she plays what I consider to be a weak move. Normally, when white plays knight to f3, Black immediately wants to play knight to e4. This is a key move in the variation. blocking the bishop to the pawn. Now, I suspect that Ejarse didn't play this move because she was certainly worried about some tactics with pawn takes pawn, followed by bishop takes knight. But of course, if pawn takes pawn, she can recapture with the knight in this position. That's the first thing she can do. And also, if white captures first on e4 and now plays d to h5, okay, so this is also already a tricky position, but black does have some moves here. He could consider even sacrificing the queen, although that would be a long shot, but he has other moves such as queen to c8, and the position's opened up, the knight's under attack. He should have sufficient counterplay here. She should have sufficient counterplay. In any case, she played c4, which I think is probably a mistake, because Panelo drops back the bishop, keeps the attack on the king side, but now we've lost all options of playing actively in the center. Even so, knight to e4 again was probably the best move. Not so strong as before, but still the best move. It had to play knight 6 to d7, and now this is another mistake. And white starts to increase the attack. Queen to h5, attacking the f7 pawn. The computer suggests that maybe black can defend with g6 and bishop to f6, trying to drop back to g7. Maybe this was a possibility. I'm sure white would try and go for h4, h5 at some moment now. In any case, Ejarse played knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and knight to g6. And now here comes the second wave of the attack. h4, a very strong move. Threatened to bring in the rook to the attack with rook to h3 and g3. Of course, the pawn can't be captured because something like knight takes h4 would lose to queen takes a7, bishop to h4 would lose to g3, and now the rook and the queen attack the h7 pawn. So Buiza plays bishop to d6, at some point trying to exchange off the knight, rook to h3, take, and knight to f8. This is the final losing move. The engine suggests to play now b5, and although white still has a very strong attack, the final thrust still has to come. I think that after queen to b6 or queen to c7, white would drop back with the queen, somehow trying to get in h5, h6, and continue the attack. But it's still tricky. There's still work to be done. She played knight f8, and this is a mistake because now a bolts from the blue. Panelo changes directions with the bishop and goes to a4, hitting the rook, which has no safe square because rook to e7 will lose to bishop to g5 with a pin. So Buiza plays rook to knight to d7, and now rook to g3, and white is actually threatening, among other attacking ideas, to sacrifice the rook on g7. So she's in big trouble now, in big trouble. She tries a6, angling for b5, and now white had a wonderful way to win the game. He could have played bishop takes d7 instead of bishop to g5, which was the move. Also good. But bishop takes d7, queen takes, and now sacrifice of the rook, a check with the queen, and now wherever black goes, she loses. For example, king h8, we check, and then we go in for the mate with queen to g7. If she goes onto the queen side, we block the escape route with queen to f6, and then we push the bishop to g5, and there's no way of escaping from the mate on h8. So this was a really nice way to finish off the game. However, Panelo plays bishop to g5, which is also very good. Queen to c7, capture on d7, and the game finished with bishop to f6, and there's no way to stop the mate on g7. A very nice miniature game. I think it's an excellent one to start off the channel. 23 moves. No really obvious error by black. This was not an opening blunder. There was no tactical opening trick or trap. It was more white pushing, and black not finding the best defenses. I think it's a good way to start off the channel. A nice attack. You can learn a lot from the way Panelo played the attack on the king side. Hopefully you can put the London attack in your repertoire and start winning a lot of games. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you wish to, and give us a like and share with your friends. See you in the next video.